Hello everybody, welcome to another one of these GAWA summer weekly roundups, coming to you from Hotel Tia beside Anfield. Recording this just before we go down to the game tonight. Don't say I'm not good to you all. I am Andy Bell, host of the Spirit of 2016 podcast. In case anyone didn't notice, do give us a follow on Twitter at Spirit of 2016 pod and give us a subscribe on YouTube as well. So we're going to start putting the podcast on here, as I keep saying. So I'm just going to start with a quick roundup of everything that's kind of happened. I used to call it a pre-season roundup, but more or less everything's started now. So it's kind of a roundup of mostly competitive games. All leagues started apart from the Premier League, and we only have a few players playing in that, regrettably. So yeah, let's just go back to last week in Europe. A load of our players playing, and Steve Davis got a massive goal for Rangers, 2-1 down from the first leg against Malmo, but scored in the 95th minute. Deflected effort to kind of bring Rangers back into it. Obviously away goals have been scrapped this season, but it's still a big goal to keep that deficit at just one. And with a full Ibrox next week, you wouldn't bet against Rangers pulling that round and getting into the playoffs of the Champions League. Another super performance in Europe was Ali McCann with St Johnstone playing against Galatasaray, which just seems like an amazing fixture for St Johnstone fans. I watched the game, it was on BBC Scotland, and McCann put in an absolute stunning performance. He was the best player on the pitch from either side. His pressing is just amazing. His composure on the ball, always finds a blue shirt, and yeah, he just absolutely ran it. He knows when to run forward with it. He knows when to hold on to it. He knows when to get rid of it. He knows how to draw a foul. He was getting stuck in. He was lucky not to get booked early on, which I like to see from a Northern Ireland player. You know, we need a bit of steel in our midfield, and I just can't wait to see him. I think especially with Saville suspended for Lithuania, I certainly think Ali McCann's going to get more than his fair share of minutes this international break, and potentially in the competitive games as well. So moving on to the weekend, just obviously not going to go through absolutely everything. Apologies I didn't get a roundup out this week, a written roundup on the Facebook, but I am, as I say, on my holidays, and I'm not sure this girl behind the camera would have quite enjoyed me taking an hour to do that, but I'll just kind of wrap it up here. Liam Boyce, another goal and assist. He's been on fire at the start of the season, mentioned earlier in previous roundups. In the Scottish League Cup, I think he scored 3 in the 4 group games they had. Didn't score last week, got an assist, but got a goal and assist against St Mirren this week. So Hearts, I believe, are top of the league. They're certainly 6 points from 6. And Liam Boyce absolutely thriving, as we knew he would. He scores goals in that league. Josh McGuinness also scored, first game for Hull back up in the Championship under Grant McCann. They won 4-1. Previous, I guess, reservations as to whether McGuinness is capable of certainly being as prolific as he was in League One in the Championship. But yeah, he seemed to, from what the guys were saying on Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, he seemed to be doing very well. Worked his ass off all game and got his rewards with the goal. So good to see him off the mark in the Championship, and hopefully he can get a good season to follow up his best goal scoring season last year. I think it was 19 goals in total. And my favourite one was Shane Lavery coming off the bench, making his Football League debut in the 80th minute away to Bristol City for Blackpool, and scoring a 93rd minute equaliser. If you haven't watched it, go on to the Blackpool YouTube and watch the highlights. Actually, the last kind of 10 minutes or so, he's really involved, works tirelessly, as Linfield fans will tell you from his time back there, and yeah, set up a chance, made one for himself, and then gets the winner with a lovely run, the equaliser, the lovely run to the front post, and sticks it past the keeper. So hopefully that's first of many for Shane Lavery. And the only other thing I have written down here is Peacock Farrell, 2 clean sheets in 2. They drew 0-0 with Charlton at the weekend, so good for Bailey to be getting minutes, and hopefully that'll boost his confidence, because we all know Peacock Farrell's a great keeper, but confidence can be a bit of an issue with him sometimes, especially at his age. So I'm going to move on to the transfers. So last week, funny enough, I reported that there was kind of nothing going on. Sam McClelland is something. It was a rumor which came into existence about 10 minutes after I'd put up the video. So nice one for that. But yeah, he's got an interesting story coming out about him, potentially going on loan to a Serie A club. Venezia, newly promoted, was the club that was mentioned by Tutto Mercado. But it's interesting to see that plenty of rumours about him going out on loan. Obviously, his parent club's Chelsea, and he was in the squad for the June friendly. So hopefully he can get a bit more experience and isn't going to Serie A. You're playing against top players, playing against world class players, and I think that'll be a great move for him. Mick McCarthy says Kieran Brown's going nowhere. Middlesbrough previously were interested in taking him on a permanent move, having a bit of trouble at left back, but Kieran Brown, yeah, he looks like he's staying at Cardiff. obviously it's the idea, if you're going into a car dealership and you want to sell a car, you're not exactly going to say I'm desperate to sell this, but from what the reports say, Middlesbrough's first bid did nowhere near met Cardiff's valuation for Kieran Brown, so it looks like he's going to stay and get his chance in the Championship. And Jordan Jones has made the move to Wigan permanently from Rangers. Obviously things didn't quite work out from there. I've kind of given my opinions on Jordan Jones and loan moves to the League One or the Championship for him, but yeah, he's made it permanent to League One, and let's just see how he does. Wigan looking to go straight back up, came on and made his debut there on Saturday, and let's hope that he can kind of finally show what Northern Ireland fans know he can do from the glimpses we had a couple of years ago when he started that qualifying campaign for us. So just to sort of start wrapping things up, a few kind of stories pertaining to the Northern Ireland national team. Well, not really pertaining to the national team, but Corey Evans was made captain of Sunderland. They've done that kind of thing where they've got a leadership group. So they've got like 4 club captains, of which Tom Flanagan's one. But the team captain is Corey Evans. Just 20 days after he signed, he's been made captain there, which is great for him. Obviously, maybe slightly disappointing to drop down to League One, but hopefully they can bounce straight back up. And the fact that he's already entrusted with that role, 20 days into his time at Sunderland is so encouraging for us, and it just shows, the quality of person Corey Evans is, as well as a player on the pitch. Next story is that there is VAR for World Cup qualifiers. Bit of an interesting one, bit of a controversial one. Obviously, as Northern Ireland fans, we're maybe slightly happier about that than most other people. I don't like it personally. I think if I go to a Northern Ireland game, I want to celebrate a goal straight away that goes in. We don't get many, so the ones we do get, I want to be able to go mental for. And I hate the idea that VAR kind of curtails that celebration, and you have to wait 20 seconds to see if it hit somebody's arm 2 minutes ago. Like, all that's just not for me. So yeah, VAR's in, but at least it means Switzerland aren't going to do to us what they did last time, which we'll not talk about any further. The other thing, another couple of stories just before I wrap it up. Johnny Evans doesn't say. Brendan Rodgers says Johnny Evans will return after the international break. Hopefully YouTube don't do this for the copyright of that music, but Johnny Evans come back after the international break for Leicester. So I'm not sure if Ian Barraclough's going to call him up, if Leicester are going to kind of put a spanner in the works. We know Johnny Evans was carrying an injury for a lot of last season, so he's they're obviously trying to get him right, and fairly suits Leicester to say he won't be going away for the international break. They won't want him to do that, but goodness me, we need him for that Switzerland game. So hopefully we can come to some sort of an agreement with Leicester, even if of the 3 games he only plays Switzerland. I'd shake hands on that right now. I think we can get through Lithuania. Estonia's a friendly, it doesn't matter, and hopefully we'll have him back for that Switzerland game. That would be amazing. And finally, the Switzerland manager is gone. 7 years at Switzerland, in which time he's qualified them for World Cups and European Championships. He's made them into a ruthlessly efficient machine, and I think we're all a little bit worried about the games against Switzerland, but he has stepped down. He's joined Bordeaux, and a man called Murat Yakin has been appointed. So a bit of a strange one there. He was in charge of a Swiss second division club, which I haven't written down, and it's far too long for me to even guess the pronunciation of. But not exactly the highest caliber of manager coming in there. That's not to say he's not a good one. Obviously, we got Michael O'Neill from the League of Ireland. We know how that turned out for us. But given how good Petkovic was, I think there was an idea that he'd taken him as far as he possibly could. Obviously, was a penalty kick away from getting them into the semi-finals of the European Championship, so that was a scary proposition. But let's hope that it's not a case of the new manager bounce, rather a case of them being disappointed that Petkovic is gone and this guy not being able to live up to expectations. But we'll see on the 8th of September when we welcome them, in inverted commas, to Windsor Park, and let's hope that we can get a result there, at least a draw, to kind of keep our hopes alive. So yeah, that's everything for me. We'll be back next week at some point with another roundup. I think we'll just keep doing these up until the September games, because we'll have the podcast out then. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Do subscribe, do follow us on Twitter, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.